Hey everybody, it's your boy Captain Hunter, Big L PhD, Big L PhD. So I wanted to jump in here for a few minutes here and talk about something that's very, very much near and dear to my heart, and that is imposter syndrome. Um, we just had the scandal, and I should be uploading, or should have uploaded the video with concerning Miss Claudia Gay and her termination or resignation or whatever from Harvard University. But and I talked about DNI, DEI. I guess there's a B on there too sometimes. Diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, and just the whole situation with affirmative action. I don't know why that I cannot think of that term. Affirmative action, and so I want to talk about just imposter syndrome, right? This idea of actually being in a space and belonging in that space, and what that means, and how we navigate that, right? That is something that, truth be told, in all honesty, that I have struggled with. I can remember sitting in a meeting when I was on my administrative staff team in the police department or command staff. Well, actually, before I made it to this command staff, we would have a meeting and anyone could attend, technically, from lieutenants on up. But I forget the exact term of that. We had a command staff meeting, but before that, we had a different type of meeting. I don't know. I can't remember the term we had for it. Anyway, so I remember sitting in the. I wasn't at the table, right? But I was just sitting around the table, right? And the bigwigs sit at the table, but this is before I became a bigwig. And so I can remember sitting around and just going around the room, like, this person went to private school, this person went to private school, this person got their degree, this person got an MBA, this person has a master's, this person has their degree, etc. And I was sitting there, I'd gone to public school and only had my high school diploma. So I'm like, oh my God. I was a lieutenant. I was a lieutenant or acting lieutenant. I can't remember. And I was like, you know what? Forget this, man. I'm going back to school, right? Because I, in my own self, didn't really feel like I belonged there. And try to envision my mindset, my mind frame, my frame of thinking as I'm discussing that. I didn't think that I belonged there. So I went back to school, and I had so many credits from my associates. They're like, oh, if you take, actually I think it was like 3 classes. I had to take a Spanish class or foreign language. I had to take foreign language, I think 1 or 2 history classes, in either psych or something like that. So it was like 3, maybe 4 classes the most. I'm like, you can knock this out and be done by the spring. That's exactly what I did. So I went back and I took let's just say it was 4 classes. I took the 4 classes and graduated. And actually, I think I graduated early. It was like, by the time they gave me the diploma, it was like January or something. So anyway, so then I go back and I go back and get my bachelor's, but I'm still not feeling like I belong, right? And that's what imposter syndrome is it's the feeling of not belonging, right? That even with all of your accomplishments and all the accolades and all the praise that you've been given, you did a good job. Oh, look at all of your degrees on your wall. Look at all your certifications. Look at your licenses. Look at the work you've done, your product, whatever it is. You never feel like it's good enough, right? That you feel like you really don't belong there, and wherever there is. And something like 70% of adults in the United States will suffer with that. I think there's different articles that I read, and I kind of just perused them just to kind of get ready for this particular video that I want to share. Is I think that a lot of minority women deal with it, Black women in particular, deal with this frame of thinking, and it can cause anxiety, depression, cause you not to do things, become lax, You know, fear of starting because of fear of failure, all this type of stuff. So I think that so I really want to deal with that, right? And really try to help people really through that, not just through this video, but that is really becoming a passion of mine, because that was really it was really a stranglehold on my whole life. And there's different reasons for it that we can dig into, as far as psychological reasons, you know, because your past, your upbringing, the amount of pressure your parents put on you. Maybe you have a lot of pressure because you don't want to live the way that your parents live. You saw that they didn't really achieve very much, and so you want to push yourself, and all these different types of things that can cause or be a catalyst for this type of thought process and feelings. And man, it can be really debilitating. It can cause you to have a fear of failure, anxiety, depression, uh, procrastination, all these different things that can happen to you if you don't, if you're not mindful of those forces. So, you know, in this brief video, I really want to give some encouragement, man, that you know, obviously this channel is for those who are trying to get their doctorate or whatever, but you know, you can send this to anyone who's not trying to get a doctorate, who's just trying to, you know, just trying to do anything in life, start a business, get, you know, jump back into a relationship. Maybe you feel like you met someone and you don't feel like you're worthy of them or whatever, right? Or maybe you're trying to take a cooking class or lose weight or whatever. You know, it really doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter as far as all that. What matters is you look at yourself for who and what you are, and understand your flaws, and understand them, but accept them and work on them. You know, develop a different mindset to work on these things, right? So, you know, in my case, in my situation, right, what I told you was I was looking at other individuals, right? I'm comparing myself to other people who are in the room, and I'm saying, man, these people are accomplished in one way or another, but I want to, you know, strive for that same level of accomplishment. I can never do what they did. I can never be what they are, but I can be the best version of myself. I may not be able to get that degree, but I can get this degree. I may not be able to lose 15 pounds, but I can lose 10, or I can lose 12, right? So you have to really kind of look at it in a practical sense. I know that imposter syndrome is hard. I know that it is. And the other thing about imposter syndrome is, the other thing about that is you really, you know, have to look at the progress that you made, right? Every step is a rung in the ladder. It's progress in the ladder towards your own self goals, improvement, self-esteem, and self-worth, right? All of that, everything you've done, your graduation from middle school, from high school, from you know, passing a test, right? All of these things, you know, the littlest things that we sometimes kind of overlook are really important milestones that we should never overlook to that degree, right? And you have to. It's not enough to tell yourself that you belong. It's you know, self-talk is a really difficult thing to really kind of process through, right? Everybody doesn't have that ability, and there's so much doubt, so much self-lack, and so much, right? If your parents never gave you the love, attention, and affection, or if they never gave it to you, then you may not feel like you deserve to be in the place that you are. And if you are, I cannot stand this one here. And if you are, if your parents never gave you the love and attention, or if they gave you sometimes too much, right? They put all this crazy pressure on you, right? You can develop same feelings of inadequacy, right? I never lived up to my whatever, right? So, you know, when I finished my education, when I finished my last round of education, I should say, my kids, you know, I had to reassure my kids that I wasn't going to put that much pressure on them to exceed to that level. But I did want to set a precedent that here's what it looks like, and here's what can be done. Here's what it is, right? I wanted to do that. That was very, very strategic and deliberate on my part. But at the same time, At the same time, as a child or a person in that, right, you cannot expect that from them, right? These high expectations that parents put on children a lot of times, you have to understand that children may not live up to that. And that may cause a certain level of anxiety, depression, procrastination, loss of focus, and then they deal with it in inordinate ways, right? Escapism, through drug addiction, through running away, through dangerous and deviant behaviors, right? That can cause all this. So you really, really have to be very, very cautious about that. So I'm trying to, paint a broad brush here as to how we deal with feelings of imposter syndrome. But here's what I would say, right? Recognize the small accomplishments that you made. You may not remember it, but if you have children, or maybe if you do, remember the first time that you tied your shoes. Maybe remember the first time that you rode a bike. People don't even ride bikes anymore, right? Everybody's in the house playing video games. Remember the first time that you drove a car. Remember those feelings, right? And now you've driven a car, rode a bike, tied your shoes, created the first drawing, did your first tattoo, whatever your wheelhouse is, right? Remember that feeling, and 5 years plus for that, you don't even think about that anymore, right? So until I probably said it, you don't even think about the small achievements that happen to you along the way. And so that's the same way with imposter syndrome, getting your advanced degrees, whatever. Is just dealing with those types of feelings, right? And understanding that the small progresses, the small things, the small foxes that along the way, right? Those small incremental successes, they lead to the feelings of achievement, right? Confidence, and I'll try to leave it off here. Confidence is the result of having done things and accomplished things, and that is where confidence comes in at. You become confident and competent the more that you do, the more that you try, the more that you do, and the more that you try, and the more successes. Now, you're going to fail and fall along the way. There's no doubt about it. You fell off your bike. You may have had a little fender bender. You didn't pay attention when the first time you drove a car. You got yelled at. You messed up. First time you tried to do it, they came back to you and said, "What is this garbage? Do it right." And then the next time you come back, and then the next time, right? The whole falling off the horse type of thing. And that's what you have to do, and you have to develop within imposter syndrome, is that you have to understand that your little successes along the way make you precisely where you want to be. They opened up the door for you to be at this table. And that's the whole debate about, affirmative action. And I know that affirmative action has been taken out of context, and people try to say you don't belong here. No, I recognize that, right? But that's one of the debates and arguments about affirmative action, is that we want to belong because of our skill set, because of our knowledge base, and because of our competence and confidence. That's why we want to belong. That's why we want a seat at the table. So even though I told a story at the beginning about all that I had, my level of confidence, my level of competence, put me in the room with all these individuals who I looked up to on an academic and achievement level. And then as I began to achieve more, right? Because I don't know if I was acting or if I actually had made it to the position of lieutenant. But at first, before I became an actual lieutenant, I was acting. So they saw something in me that said, okay, we're going to put this guy in this position, right? Then I passed the test and come out, and then I actually made it. Then they put me in an acting captain's position, again, because of my competence level and all that. Then I passed the test for real and become a real captain. But all the while, small little incremental things. How am I handling my subordinates? How am I handling this situation? How am I handling that emergency situation? How am I doing with that? And listen, I messed up along the way. I'm not saying that I did. I'm not saying I'm perfect. Nobody is, right? You're going to make mistakes. But that doesn't mean that you don't belong in the room. It doesn't mean that you don't have the skill set with the abilities to do the job and do it efficiently and effectively. And so that's one thing I really, really want to harp upon you, is that you belong there. Whatever your competence level is today, whatever your skill set level is today, whatever your education is today, whatever has put you in the room, somebody else saw something in you and said, we want you to do this. And you have the ability and the skills in order to do it. Now, the thing is to get it through your own mind. And I know that this is a tough, tough trick. I was listening to Tia San Johnson. He's a PhD, and he talked about this, and I think that it's important enough for me to talk about it, and I think other individuals really ought to talk about it, because this is a problem that 70% of people within their lifetime will deal with, right? And you know, man, there's this elitism, even on the PhD level, right? Your elitism. There are certain levels of elitism, right? If you didn't go to an Ivy League school, you didn't go to a big league school, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. They actually think that they're better than other PhDs. They think that sometimes if you went to a lesser school, that your PhD doesn't mean as much, and it devalues their PhDs. I've read posts where they've said that. But listen, I'm going to tell you right now, I belong in the room with anyone, and I didn't get to this, and I'll leave it off right here. And this is why mentorship means so much. Your committee members, your mentorship along the way, whether it's a doctorate level or in church or in a social group or whatever, mentorship means a lot. So I do my dissertation defense. And I knew I blew it out the water. I mean, listen, I've been public speaking and doing podcasts, and I knew my information cold. I did mine on leadership with a criminal justice focus. I had been a leader, read all the textbooks, read all the leadership theory. So when I went to school, it was nothing. And then, of course, criminal justice was the focus. This is nothing. This really was just a formality. I mean, it wasn't like I was doing anything new. It was really just a formality. I'd done the work. So I just need somebody else to stamp off and say, yeah, okay, you got it. So I'm at the dissertation defense, and I do my defense, and then, they tell you, it was, okay, step out and then come back. Congratulations, Dr. Hunter, and this, that, and the other. So, yeah, okay, great. It was rah-rah, yeah. But one thing I'll never forget was one of my, he was my criminal justice chair, and we still keep in contact today. As he said that, congratulations, you have graduated. I don't know if he used the word graduated, but it was essentially what he said was, I've now moved and proven myself to go beyond a student and to being a peer. And I was like, that was the defining moment of my life. I'm going to tell you, I struggle with that I struggle with imposter syndrome. I'm not telling you anything that I haven't done myself. This was and is a struggle for me and for many other people. But when that PhD said that now I have proven myself to be a peer, I don't think that there's anything I can't do. And that's one thing that I think that a PhD really gives to people is or even master's degree in accomplishment really means, number one, that to address imposter syndrome, that you belong there. And number two, that you can do anything. If you put your nose to the grindstone, you can figure this problem out. And that's what a PhD is, right? When you become a master, right? And bachelor's is you know the material. Master is you've mastered this material. You are almost a subject matter expert. You understand this material on a level that nobody else does. But a PhD or doctorate level says that you can figure out the problem. You can define the problem. You can create new terms. You can figure out the problem, and you can come up with some type of solution. That's really what it is. It's a problem. You're a problem solver. Here's a problem, and here's what I'm going to do. That's why you charge money for consulting. Here, okay, here's the issue. Here's how you fix it. Pay me. So those are things that I really wanted to kind of bring out. So imposter syndrome. I know in a 20-minute video that you're not going to overcome that, but it's a work in progress. And just look at the small little incremental things, successes that you've had, the small little things along the way, and focus heavily upon those, not upon your failures and your downfalls and your setbacks, because we're all going to go through them. We're all going to have them, and all that. I'm going to comb my beard here. So I'm going to leave it off there. I'm going to leave it off there. That was very unprofessional of me, but I'm going to leave it off there. Listen, hit rate, subscribe, share. Let me know what your thoughts and your opinions are. And, you belong. You belong. Your accomplishments, your successes, even your failures, right? As long as you keep getting back on the horse and keep striving, keep trying, keep going, just keep it up, right? I'm always available for consultations. I'm available for consultations and other things, life coaching, management coaching, things along those lines. So maybe I'll even broaden my channel to talk more about that type of stuff, right? Because I think it's important. I think it's important. So anyway, much love and peace, everyone. Rate, subscribe, share. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions. Hit me up in the comments, and I'll hit you back.